Dr. A keeps your mindset mean. From burnout stress to daily grace, she brings the tools to lift your space. Live an IO life, get your mind aligned with rhythm. Dr. A in your ears, changing your game. Every episode, never the same. Yeah, it's that IO life. Yeah, IO life. Yeah, it's the IO life.
Oh my goodness. Well, welcome. Hello everyone to my very first live broad stream podcast. So if you can tell, I'm a little nervous because this is a very emotional day for me, but we'll get into that. But first of all, I want to thank you for joining, those of you on live stream. Thank you so much. First, I want to give a shout out to MBR Military Broadcast Radio. Thank you so much for this platform. Thank you. Shout out to Amber. Shout out to Joel for putting this on for us veterans. Go veterans. Super excited for this opportunity. My time slot will be every Thursday at 1:30 Eastern. No, excuse me, every Thursday 1:30 at Thursdays at 12:30. Thursdays at 12:30 to 1:30. So super excited. Thank you so much. And I wanted to kick off this podcast. It's called Living the IO Life, which is a product line brand of my business. The Ultimate Business is True Speaks Group, which is my research and innovation company. And a part of that product line of Living the IO Life is trying to understand what is living the IO psychology life. And we're going to talk about that in more episodes, but I wanted to dedicate this particular episode for a special reason. So today is September 25th, the day my life completely changed. So I wanted to just take a little bit of time and talk about this day. A day that will forever be etched in my brain, as well as others' brains as well, because this has really truly affected multiple people. This is the day that the kids nowadays, they say unalived. So this is the day my son decided to unalive himself and his wife, my beautiful daughter-in-law. I love to call her my daughter. My son's name was Tariq Deshawn Brown, and my daughter-in-law's name was Rachel Ketsana Thepsanga. And she was Asian. She was 30% Cambodian, 15% Thai, and 15% Laos. So therefore, my beautiful grandson is, as my son, we always say, Blasian. So my grandson is Blasian, and he's just the cutest little thing on the planet. And yes, they left behind my grandson. So I want to just tell the story of what happened that day, and in hopes of healing, of this podcast being therapeutic for me. I recently started doing videos on TikTok, and those have been really therapeutic for me as well. So I just wanted this to reach someone, and just someone to know that you're seen, we hear you, shut the world out, and just know that someone cares about you and someone needs you. So it was a regular Wednesday. So anyone that knows me, thank you, Charles. Charles says I'm doing a wonderful job. Thank you. Because I'm super nervous. I don't know if you can tell. And you wouldn't think I'm nervous because I talk for a living, people. Hello, I talk for a living. But it was if you know me, I have 15,000 jobs. So it was a Wednesday. I got up like normal. I had so let me do a little backtrack first. So that was the Wednesday, but the day before I had talked to the kids. I talked to them on a regular basis, and I call them the kids. And it was hurricane season. September, October, November are kind of heavy hurricane months for us in Florida here. And we had a hurricane coming. I forget the name of the hurricane. And I said, hey, I texted them. I said, hey, what are y'all going to do? Are y'all going to ride the hurricane out here at the house? Meaning, are they coming here? Are they coming to my house? Because they lived in another city. They lived in a city called Lake City, which is about an hour and a half away from me. So they both text me, had like a little group text, say, yeah, we probably will. And they both text me separately, obviously saying, yeah. So it's okay, cool, no problem. Didn't think anything of it. They sent me some pictures. Rachel sent me some pictures of Gio because she had put some new cream. She was always testing new cream stuff on his hair. She took like a picture of his hair and put it back like in a little ponytail. It was so cute. And so you didn't think anything as a mother. You're just kind of moving forward. The next morning I had a sub job. So I had picked up a sub job and I was doing a paraprofessional job at Mandarin Oaks Elementary. Never forget that day. And got up like normal, went to the school like normal. And for some reason, my mind, I said, let me wear these. I had on these blue pants, these blue, black, blue and white pants that had big pockets in them. And my mind said, let me wear these big pants with these pockets because that way I can reach and get my phone just in case someone needs to reach me. Because a lot of times when you're subbing, you can't always have your phone. You got to have it over to the side. But for some reason, I said, let me put on these big pants. So I had my phone. So I get there. I was in one of the handicap classes, and cute little boy. I was feeding him, cutest little thing on the planet. So I'm trying to feed the little boy, and my phone keeps ringing. Tariq keeps calling me, and good morning, Josh. Good morning. And Tariq keeps calling me, and I'm like, boy, what do you want? So I text him. I said, look, I'm working. I'm feeding this little boy. Are y'all on the road? Are y'all on the way? Because I think they had shut down his job or they were getting off early or something, or I don't know what's going on. So I'm thinking, are y'all on the way? Are y'all going to come down to the house to ride out the storm or whatever? Because I was only working a half a day, so I wasn't going to be there long. I was going to be getting off by 11 or so. And so he's texting me around, maybe like 8:40-ish or something, or yeah, around 8:40 or something like that. Because by this time he had already called his best friend Nay. He had called Nay at 8:30. Anyway, I said, what do you want? What's going on? Are y'all on the road? He's like, Mom, pick up the phone. I said, I'm working. He's like, no, it's important. So I said, okay. I said, something must be going on. Let me just see what's going on with this boy. So they had like a little cubby hole in the back. So I called, I went back there. I said, what's going on? Are y'all on the road? Are y'all coming down? And he's like, Mom, and he's whispering and he says, Mom, and I hear Gio in the background making little noises, little baby noises, whining or whatever. He's like, Mom, we're being robbed and Rachel's been shot. So as a mom, I say to myself, I said, first thing went to my brain, I'm like, who is robbing you? You guys live in this house that I didn't approve of. What do you got? 2 iPhones, 2 iPads, and 2 iWatches? Who's going to rob you? What do people want from you guys? No one's going to rob you. So I'm thinking, so the first thing literally I'm thinking, because Rachel likes to vape. So I'm thinking maybe they're high, maybe, that's literally what I'm thinking. I'm not thinking what he's saying is true. I'm thinking maybe they just need attention. Maybe they're arguing. I'm not thinking this is real, and so I said, Tariq. So I literally said it this calm. I literally was this calm and said, Tariq, if someone is robbing you, And if someone has shot your wife, mama is in Jacksonville, Florida. You are in Lake City. I'm an hour and a half away. There's nothing I can do. I said, you need to call 911 if that is the case. So you can tell I was not, I'm thinking, again, in my brain, they're high. And so I said, well, where's Gio? He's like, okay, I'm gonna call 911. And he hung up the phone before I could. So right then, it's like when he hung up the phone, when I asked where's Gio, when he hung up that phone, that's okay. Something clicked in my brain. That's okay. Wait a minute. Something's not right. So I rushed out the room. I told the teacher, I said, hey, I got to go. Something's going on with my son. She's like, my son is saying he's being robbed. She's like, oh my God. Okay, go. So I get in the car. Now I'm panicking because I'm like, he hung up the phone. He didn't answer me about Gio. So I get in the car. This is when I first find out that all the 911s aren't connected, just in case you didn't know that. I didn't know that. I get in the car, call 911, sit in the parking lot at the school. I said, hey, my son lives in Lake City. He says they're being robbed. She's like, you need to call 911 in Lake City. I didn't know that. I didn't know the 911s weren't connected. Learn something new every day. So this time, okay, I called 911 in Lake City. Called the 911 in Lake City. And I said, hey, they live at this address. And my son is saying they're being robbed. His wife has been shot. It's probably, I don't know if, I don't know what's going on. I have no idea. I have no idea, so she's like, okay, we'll get units out there. They're calm or whatever. And she's like, they ask a little bit of questions. I'm like, as far as I know, they're okay. I don't know. So now my stomach's bubbling. I get irritated. I got to stop off at the gas station. So I got to use the bathroom now. I don't know what's going on. So I immediately get on the phone and call some key people. I call my first husband, which is Tariq's biological dad. I said, hey, something's going on with Tariq. I don't know what's going on. You got to get there. You need me to come pick you up. What you need. I don't know what's going on. You got to get there. Here's the address. I called my second husband, which is who raised Tariq. I said, hey, Carlos, something's going on with Tariq. I don't know. The boy saying he's being robbed. I don't know. He's like, okay, I'm there. I call his godmom. I said, hey, something's going on with Tariq. They're saying being robbed. She's like, okay, I'm gone. And I figured she's going to get there early because she worked out of town. So like the Callahan area, I'm not sure which office she was at, but she would have gotten there faster. So and then I called one of my close girlfriends, Tam, and I said, hey, something's going on with Tariq. I don't know what's happening. So okay, so she said, I'm there. So get in the car, and I'm driving, so I'm driving and I'm making phone calls. I call Nay, which is his best friend from like third grade, and I said, Nay, well, what's going on with Tariq? She's like, oh, no, nothing. Why? What's going on? And I said, well, did you talk to him? Because I didn't want to reveal anything to her at first. I said, you talked to him this morning? She's like, well, yeah, I talked to him around 8:30. Now keep in mind now, obviously it's past 9 o'clock. It's it's way past 9 or whatever. So because I'm on the road now. And so I said, well, the boy called me saying that that they're being robbed and Rachel's been shot. I said, what? He's like, huh? He's like, nah, maybe they both high. I said, okay, so you think the same thing I'm thinking, right? You're like maybe they're high or whatever. But I'm thinking, but Tariq wouldn't be high because he was working for the Department of Corrections at the time and trying to get through the academy, so that wouldn't happen, right? So he wouldn't be high, And I said, well, I don't know, Nay, I'm not sure what's going on. I said, did he sound weird? She's like, he said they were just a little tired. He said they had gotten into an argument or whatever, but that was really it. And I said, okay, something's not right. I said, this is just weird. I don't know what's going on. So fast forward, moving on, we get there, and let me back up. Back up. I had on the way going there, the sheriff's office or the detective or whomever called me in the car, and so they start asking you questions. And it's kind of like on the CSI, and asked me questions and said, "Hey, hi, this is Detective such and such," and I have my people there on the scene, and we're calling their names out, but no one's answering. I said, "Well, yeah, the robbers could have already gotten to them or taken them or something." Because in my mind, again, I'm not thinking anything. I'm not thinking dead. I'm not thinking that. That's the furthest thing from my mind. It wasn't even on my mind. So, and, and when I said that, he said, "Okay, yes, ma'am." He started asking me questions. He's like, have they had any domestic violence, or is your son having mental health issues, or all these questions. And I started to think to myself, okay, well, he's asking me these questions. They only ask you these type of questions in murder suicide type situations, because I watch enough TV to know. And so and I said, well, I didn't reveal anything. I said, well, no, my son was diagnosed with autism at age 6, but I didn't reveal that to him, and because we didn't raise him as such, so we kind of just carried him as we could, and we raised him the best we could. So I didn't reveal anything, because as far as my knowledge, he never beat on Rachel, he never abused Rachel or anything like that. So so he's like, okay, ma'am, well, I'm gonna go ahead and go on down to the scene and see what's going on. So he's like, I'm like, scene? I'm like, okay, like, this is weird, so again, in my mind, I'm not thinking. So the godmom gets there, Tiffany gets there, and she's like, this is not good. She's like, it's yellow tape everywhere. And she's like, something like off a crime scene. And she's like, they won't talk to me until you get here. Something in my mind. So I'm almost there. I'm coming. I'm coming up the road. I'm coming. I'm like, I don't understand why there's yellow crime scene. Because again, in my mind, I'm thinking it's a flesh wound. Maybe they were playing with the gun, because Rachel did own a gun. Tariq did not own a gun. Tariq could not own a gun because he was going through the academy. That was part of something that they couldn't do, whatever. So Rachel had a gun that was licensed in her name. So I'm thinking maybe they're playing with the gun because they were high. I don't know. So I get there and I pull up. So their house was like this is like the front of the driveway right here. Their house was like way in the back, like way like some type of Freddy Krueger type shit, like way in the back, like Michael Myers type. And I never went to the house because the house creeped me out. I went to go pick them up one time from the house. I told Rachel I'm never come back out here again. This place is creepy. Their godmom went to the house one time and she was like, this place is weird. But I pull into I pull into like the wooded driveway, and all these vans and all this stuff it's literally something like off of a CSI scene. And all this stuff is out here, and I'm like, what? I'm like, what's going on? So I pull in, and I literally just had my foot on the brake. And the first thing they said to me is, "Man, put your foot on." They said, "Put the car in park," because I didn't have the car in park because I wasn't thinking. And put the car in park. I said, "Yes, I am his mother. What's going on?" I said, "Where's my son?" So I opened up the car door. I said, "I'm his mother. I'm Tariq Brown's mother. Where?" I'm looking at the sheriff, like he's right there, and I'm saying, "Where's my son?" He's like, "Hi, I'm Sheriff such and such." He was very calm, very nice, and he says, I said, "Yes." I said, "Where's my son? Where's my son?" And he's like, "I'm so sorry, ma'am. He didn't make it." I looked at him and said, "Didn't make what?" I said, what do you mean didn't make it? I said, "You're lying." I did my finger just like in his face. I said, "You're lying." I said, "Where's my daughter-in-law, Rachel, his wife?" He said, "Ma'am, I wouldn't lie about that." And he said, "I'm so sorry. She didn't make it either." From that moment, I literally just fell to my knees. And the landlord of the houses that they were renting, um, she was there. So I fell on her. And in my tears, I asked where was Gio, and they had thankfully he was wrapped up in a blanket in the back room, and they found him obviously alive. And those are words that I'll never forget. Um, when you hear didn't make it, I'm still somewhat in shock. And here we are a year later from that. And all in all, we did go through the motions and everything. Obviously, Tiffany was there first, and I came, and then Terry came, and then Carlos called, and he didn't want to wait. I said, "You just want to wait till you get here." He's like, "No, just tell me." So I told him over the phone, and then we had to make the heartbreaking phone call to her sister, Tia, that her sister was no longer here. And yeah, it was just it was a hard day. It was a hard day. And so I had to do what I need to do for protection of my family. So I called one of my girlfriends, Anita, that is close with my dad. And I told Anita, I said, "Can you go sit with Daddy? Because Daddy is not going to understand what's going on." My dad is at the time was 86. Had just turned 86. We just had his little birthday celebration like the week before, literally the week before. He had just turned 86. So he was just turned 87. Just had a birthday celebration last week. And so and I said, "Anita, can you go sit with Dad just till I can get back there?" Because I had to stay on the scene. I literally had to stay there all day until, because it's literally a crime scene. So on the crime scene, you stay there. You don't leave. You literally stay there. You stay there until the coroner comes and picks up the bodies. So we had to stay there all day long. And something that I did not want to do, but Terry and Carlos wanted to do. They wanted their own type of closure, and they wanted to see the bodies. I did not. And so the detective was against it at first, but they understood the situation, because it was just a devastating situation. So when they went to go view the bodies and came back, I said, "How did they look?" I said, "Did they look okay? Did they look intact? Was it, because we didn't, at that time, we didn't know the details. We didn't know everything." I said, "Did they, did they suffer? And of course, Carlos and Terry, to protect me, said no, their faces were intact. Everything was good. Everything was good." Of course, I found out later that was not the case with Rachel. And I won't go into detail with that, but it wasn't. But with that being said, that day, because we had to hurry and get back because the hurricane was coming, and got back to the house. And of course, by this time, I had made a post on Facebook. I think the post I made on Facebook was just pray for my mental health. I think that's what I said at that time. Just pray for my mental health, because I didn't know. I didn't know I didn't know, because I had taught suicide prevention and all that when I worked in the Warrior Project. So you don't think these things would happen. And again, like I said, we still didn't know if it was really murder suicide. We didn't know. We weren't sure. We were thinking that's what it was. And even Nay, his best friend, was in denial for a long time. She was in denial for a long time. Then we finally realized, okay, that's what this was. And then the autopsy reports came back and everything. We read through them. And I'm sharing this because those of you out there who are, I can't say everyone, I've had suicidal ideations. I can't say everyone has, but many people have had suicidal ideations. And you get down in life, you get low in life, and you think about, well, if I'm not here, things will be better. If I'm not here, people can move on or whatever. But it actually makes life worse when you're not here. The trickle effect, the ripple effect. I said if I was to create a book or write a book or another book, I would call it the ripple effect, because the ripple effect this has caused in my life, in so many other lives, in Gio's life. I mean, think about it. I have to explain to him one day that he was in the room, that he was in the house, in the back room, when his mother was murdered by his father. I have to explain that to him one day. And I have to explain to him that his father wasn't a bad person one day. Gio's going to have to go through therapy one day for all of this. So, and the thing with suicide is it's tunnel vision. You're like this. You're not, and Tariq was not thinking about all of this. And I truly believe this was a flip decision. Me and my two ex-husbands have talked about this extensively, and we really believe this was a flip decision. I don't think he woke up that morning deciding to do this. I think they just had been dealing with a lot of things in their life, just like any young married couple. They made a lot of mistakes, and then this younger generation can't handle a lot of things. And then we also find out hindsight that he had got laid off from his job. And this was his second time going through the academy because one of his issues with one of the functions of high functioning autism was he was not good academically. So he didn't do well academically, should I say. So academically, when he told me he had to go to school to pass this academy, I'm like, oh. I told Rachel, I said, I don't know if y'all want, I said, I know my child, so I don't know, It was a great job, but him taking tests and stuff like that, I don't know if this is going to go, this may not work, but, he was pushing through, but as I talked to some of his colleagues, some of his friends and stuff, they saw him struggle. He struggled through the tests, but Tariq was so strong-minded and was going to determine to push through and everything. So I think he felt like the weight of the world was on him. Here I am, this young father, this job, marital issues. I got this, baby, and the truth is, like my therapist said, we'll never know what went on that day. Only God knows what happened in that household. We'll never know. But I say all this to say I share this story because it's not just losing a child. Rachel was like a daughter to me, so it's not just losing two children. Suicide is when you make the decision to do it. So you have losing a child, losing two children, then you have that person decided to do it themselves. Then they decide to take someone else's life. So now we're on the fourth layer. Then they decided, oh, I'm going to leave you with the responsibility of raising my child. That's the fifth level. Then that leaves you with, oh, guess what? Oh, I have all these other things going on. But when you decide to kill the other person, the state of Florida gets involved. So I'm not even going down that rabbit hole because that has been a nightmare. That has been a complete nightmare. Dealing with, and don't get me wrong, everyone I've been working with the state has been great. I mean, no one's been nasty, no one's been mean, everyone's been great. Shout out to the state of Florida. Department of Children and Family Affairs, all has been great. DCF has been great. But it has just been a nightmare. Going through probate, going through all these things. It has just been dealing with, because the incident happened in one county. I live in Duval County. As some of you may know, I got the finalized paperwork done yesterday. Gio has been fully adopted, because guess what? When two parents pass away, the child automatically goes into foster care. It's an automatic. There is no ifs, ands, buts, or maybes. It's a immediate foster care. So he was immediately placed in foster care the moment breath was taken from their bodies. It's a foster care placement immediately. So I became the guardian, but he was still under the ownership of the, let's see here. Okay. Under the ownership of the state. So with that being said, I had to go through the paperwork. I had to go through all the steps to adopt him. So now he's my son, glamson, which is what Tariq wanted, and like he said at the beginning of the podcast, I stated, he said, get here, just get here, mom. And I think he knew when I said to him, son, you can call 911. I think he realized, oh, wait a minute, what am I doing? This isn't going to make sense here. This doesn't make sense. And I think he realized, because that was like around 8:50ish, and the time of death on the death certificate said 9 o'clock. So somewhere between, he called Nate at 8:30, called me around 8:35ish, 8:40ish, called 911 about 8:50. Time of death was like 9 o'clock. So all that happened within 30 minutes. And they never get it directly on point, but it's around in that time frame. I think he thought during that time frame he was gonna be like, oh, this isn't gonna work. So mom, just get here. So I say all this to say, this has been a roller coaster year for me. I'm pushing through. Those people who know me, know I'm a go-getter. That's never going to change. I'm the caretaker for my dad, caretaker for my grandson, obviously, caretaker for myself. But it's been hard. There have been, grief. If those of you who know, grief is not linear. It kind of comes out of nowhere. You can just, there have been times I've been in a stoplight and just hit the steering wheel. There have been times I've been in the store and just had to stop in the middle of the aisle. There have been times where I've just been sitting in my bed and just start crying, sitting Indian style in the bed, just start crying. It just comes out of nowhere. And and it's hard. It gets hard at times. But as I say, my therapist told me and one thing I keep holding on to, and I hope you hold on to this, whoever's out there listening, my prayer was that one person hears this and says, okay, I'm worth living. there's always light from darkness, and a lot of light has come from this, unfortunately. Geo is the happiest little thing. Even this morning, let me go back. That day, he had such a calmness over him. He was 8 months. He turned 9 months the next day. So the 25th is always the day, and then the 26th is always his birthday. So his birthday's on the 26th. So tomorrow he'll turn 21 months. And then so there's going to always, so 3 days of 24th is adoption day, 25th is always the day, 26th is always his birthday day. And so but he had such a calmness over him that day. And then this morning he woke up, because I have him on camera. I watch him on camera. and he woke up and he just sat up, because he's too big. He's a big boy. He doesn't think he's about this tall. But he doesn't think he's a little boy. He's a big boy. He's a grown man. And so he doesn't sleep in the crib. He sleeps on the futon. That's where he sleeps at. He sleeps on the futon. And he sat up in the futon and he just sat there and held onto his blanket and waited for me to come in the room to get him dressed. And sometimes he gets up and whines and rolls around. He just sat there calmly this morning. And I thought that was, I think that's okay. And I came in there and I said, come on, let's go. And I'm all happy and stuff. But so there's light. There's light from darkness, and a lot of light has come from this. And he's just been the joy of so many lives. My life, so many lives. People just, and so many people, so many strangers have come into my life with genuine care. People who I thought would be in my life are not, which is okay. And people who I didn't know are in my life are now here, which is fine, which I'm happy about. And it has just shown me, life is precious, people. Life is very precious. And yes, someone said, I agree. I think they're saying they agree to the light from darkness, I'm assuming. Yeah, there's light, there's so much light has come from this. And I know they'll forever be gone. But it almost feels weird to keep living, but I have to keep living. I have to keep going. I have a child to raise, and here I am. I'm 48. I know I don't look it, I know, but I'm 48, and I got to keep going. I have, last year was supposed to be the best year of my life. I walked across the stage with my PhD. I was supposed to be celebrating all year. But it's okay. I'm gonna keep celebrating. It's okay. And in honor of my son, there was a phrase. I reached out to his friends, and that's something else that was weird to me too. Let me say that. Tariq and Rachel had such a huge friend circle. One of his friends called me this morning, Dustin. Shout out to Dustin. Another one of his friends reached out to text me this morning. I can't think of her name. She's in the Air Force. Anyway. They had such a huge friend circle. So that was baffling to me as well, how big the friend circle was. But again, this is another clue. Doesn't matter how many friends people have. Check on the person. Check on the friends that have all the friends. Check on the people who are always happy, giddy go golly, giddy go jolly, whatever. I made up that word. But I checked in with his friends. I said, hey, give me a phrase of something that Tariq used to always say. Because he used to always say all kinds of things. So one thing he used to always say was, I'm a real OG. So we had, it's faded now. We wore these at the service, at the funeral, at his service. And it's faded now. I think some people still have theirs, I guess. But I had two of them. And the words are faded, but we had on here real OG printed. So I still wear mine every day, even though the words are faded. And I said, okay, give me another phrase, because my son, everywhere I went, of course, they were both spoiled, him and Rachel. And so everywhere I went, Tariq loved socks. So I would always bring him back a pair of socks. I was always traveling somewhere with my jobs or doing something. And so, hi, Tracer. Um, so I said, give me a phrase. So they said, you know what I'm saying. He used to always say, you know what I'm saying. I said, you're right. He used to always say that. And I said, we don't know what you're saying. we don't know what you're saying, son. We don't know what you're saying. And so I created a sock brand that says that. So it's TDB, his initials, Tariq. Start over here. Yeah, Tariq Deshaun Brown. You know what I'm saying. And it's 3 types. Stripes. Then you have this is navy blue. Because navy blue was his favorite color. Also my favorite color as well. And he was a Colts fan. So that's what you see. That's his button. We had these buttons made for the funeral as well. And you see the Colts there. And he was a handsome kid. And he knew that. But these socks are available on my website, and all the proceeds from these socks go to suicide prevention. We're making the donation at the end of the year, but going to suicide prevention. I was going to do split 50-50. So suicide prevention and GEO has a fund that we have money set aside for. But I'm not taking any of the proceeds. So, and I will create a new sock brand, a new design every year. So it comes out on his birthday. His birthday is February 4th. And he would have been 27 this year. So obviously next year when he turns 28. I do have something in the works that I'm trying to do for Rachel's birthday. Her birthday is November 30th because me and her were working on a project together. I had Rachel doing, she was like my part-time assistant in the I have a nonprofit and business. So I had her doing some nonprofit stuff, business stuff, author stuff with me. I always had her doing something. I always had her busy doing something. Oh yes, I love socks too. Yeah. Tariq was a sock freak. Like a lot of his socks I gave to some of his friends. So a lot of his friends have some of his socks. So I bought him socks from everywhere. Aaliyah says yes, he loves socks. And he was crazy. He was crazy about socks. He was crazy about them. Yeah. So be on the lookout that every year I'm going to do a new sock. But I still have some of these. I still have these 3 here if you want. If you guys want to just go out to my website, truthspeakscoaching.com. And they're on the website. And I'll get them shipped out to you. I'll be doing that every year, a new socks. I can't do it all the time because designing socks is not what you think. It's very different. It's not easy. Anyway, and there's a little card that goes with it, but I had to do something in honor of him. But and of course, you know me, I always have other things in store. But with Rachel, I'm working on something to hopefully get that out by her birthday, November 30th, and would have turned 29 coming up November 30th. I do see there's chat. Oh, thank you, Aaliyah. Aaliyah put it out. Yes, it's truthspeakscoaching.com. Thank you so much. Aaliyah put it out there on Facebook. Thank you so much, Aaliyah. I have been, I have done good, guys. I got my tissue here. I got my water here. I have done good. I didn't know if I was gonna make it through this live stream, but I really just came on to tell my story and tell how this has affected me and how you're no longer the same person, but you keep going forward, you keep smiling. Nothing's going to replace them. I've met some wonderful people. Oh my God. Crystal with her nonprofit, Tina Gray, she made these beautiful angel wings. Shout out to all these beautiful people out here who have lost their children, maybe not to suicide, but they have lost their children. And it's a pain that I can't I can't describe, honestly. I just can't. It's a pain that it's a club you do not want to be a part of. Thank you, Aisha, my sister. Thank you, Charlotte. Thank you. It is a pain that it's you just don't want to be a part of this club. But at the same time, I'm developing from it. I'm growing from it. There's this thing called post-traumatic growth. So I'm growing from it. I'll forever be affected by it, obviously. But in Geo, we're gonna make sure he's taken care of. He's gonna not want for anything. And people have asked me, how can they support with Geo? You can support with Geo with anything. Hey, you can cash at me with Geo Cash App. Cash App is $ Marla J Alberti, and my Zelle is 904-728-2090 because he's just the cutest little thing on the planet. Now I'll repeat that again. Zelle is 904-728-2090. Because people always ask how to support with him. But we're happy he's adopted and yeah, I guess I'll take any questions. I do have a whole hour slot, so I think I got like 15 minutes. If anyone had any questions for me, I'm open to answer any questions. A question I get a lot of is, do I talk to her family? I talk to her sister, Tia. Tia was like a daughter to me. So I do talk to Tia quite often. I texted her yesterday, actually. Tia has a cute little baby boy, Storm. Storm, her husband are in, I don't know if Tia's watching, but they are in Virginia because he's in the military, go Navy. And hopefully they'll be moving back. So I'm very close with Tia. Thank you, Patty, my heartbeat, my queen. Thank you. But yeah, I talk to Tia quite often, and I can't wait for Gio to meet his little cousin Storm. He'll be coming. He should be coming up on 1 here soon. I get that question quite often. And Gio's doing good. He's running around, walking, driving everybody crazy. I'm learning to adapt to being. Yeah, I need help. I have a nanny. Those of you who know, I have a nanny. Because this motherhood thing is different. These post-COVID babies are different. I haven't raised a child in 26 years. This thing is different. This thing is different. So I have a lot of help. Shout out to those who help me. They know. I don't need to call out names. They know who they are. And I'm so grateful to every last one of them. The people who help me, they know who they are. And I can't. God knows. And I'm just so grateful because when I say it takes a village, no, it takes a village. Hi, Joe. Hi, Joe. Yeah, but it takes a village. And I'm just grateful for those who are there to help me through this because it's been a lot. It's been a lot. Any questions or anything? I think I did it. I think I did it. I didn't cry. Yeah, I don't know how the rest of the day is gonna go. It's what time is it? 1:19. So I don't know the rest of the day. I have the rest of the day to go. But I do have some papers to grade, so that's gonna keep me busy. Y'all know I got 13 jobs. So and I'm sailing off tomorrow, so perfect timing. So doing what I love, cruising. So yeah. And Gio is with his he's with his godparents tonight. He's coming with one of his auntie tonight, and then godparents, and he's gonna be with his Papa Terry this weekend. With Papa Terry. So he loved Papa Terry and Grandma Kenya. So let me see. We got some notes here. Oh, thank you, cousin Sheila. Thank you, Tracer. Thank you. But any questions or any comments or anything or anything? This I'm so excited about, and I'm hoping to keep the podcast going. Obviously, weekly. I'm going to try to keep it going weekly. Probably won't be live every single time. But this episode, I did just want to dedicate to the kids, and I wanted to spread suicide prevention awareness, because this is, ironically, my son did this in Suicide Prevention Month. I don't know if he knew that, but yeah. So I did want to continue to spread the awareness. I am doing like a little TikTok campaign where I'm putting on their day, like today is day 25. So I've been putting that out there every single day. Just spreading the word about suicide prevention. And it is preventable. It is preventable. It is so preventable, guys. Please do not be ashamed if you need help, if you need, and people, oh my gosh, and the amount of people, I'll say this, oh my goodness, the amount of people that have reached out to me via TikTok, via Facebook, via social media, moms that have reached out to me about their sons. It has been, wow, it has been, wow. It has been overwhelming, the amount of people that have reached out, that, guys, we just need prayer for each other. It just, so many people are hurting. So many people are hurting out here, and we have no idea. We have no idea. Thank you so much, Sheila, praying for me. Miss Dr. Carol. Hey, Dr. Carol, girl. Hey, Dr. Clark. She says, my heart goes out to you and Gio. I am touched by your unbelievable strength. Oh, and composure to walk through. Oh, continue to keep you. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Charles. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's definitely been, yeah, it's going to continue to keep me in your prayers, guys. Continue to keep me in your prayers. Yeah. It's definitely a journey, and it's a lot of other moms out there too, that need your prayers as well. And others, because we just don't know. You just don't know. And I've read some stories, and it's just, yeah, you just don't know what people are dealing with. So it doesn't hurt to be kind. I try to give somebody a compliment every day. I go through the Starbucks line. Those of you know me, I go through Starbucks or Dunkin' just about every day. I'm trying to stop. I really am. I'm trying to slow down a little bit. My boo thing be like, okay, you need to slow down. But you know this already, But but I try to give a compliment. Just say you're doing good. Oh, I love your nail color, or I love your hair. Something to somebody, because you don't know what people are dealing with. You just don't know. And it doesn't cost anything to be kind to people. It really doesn't. It doesn't cost anything to be nice to somebody. But I thank you everyone for joining. I guess if there's no questions or anything, I'm gonna try to have an episode next Thursday. And maybe I'll be talking about the cruise next Thursday. But definitely this show is going to be about living the IO life. It's going to be therapeutic. I'm going to be bringing guests on. If you want to be a guest, let me know. We're just going to be here to chop it up, chit chat, talk about life, talk about IO psychology, industrial organizational psychology, which is the study of human behavior in the workplace and how it affects you. How IO psychology has helped me get through this time, get through grieving. And just life itself. This is going to be a good one, guys. And yeah, and don't forget, just a reminder, if you want the socks, go out to the website. I think Aaliyah put it out there on the chat, www.truthspeakscoaching.com. Just go to the shop. If you want to send Gio something, you can send it Cash App, $ Marla J. Alberti, my name. You can Zelle 904-728-2090. And I'm grateful that you listened today. It says 35 people were on today. Yay! Thank you so much. And for those who listen to the replay, thank you again. I appreciate it for coming on board. And thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. This was helpful for me. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, We want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right, we're here. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us, giving our veterans a voice.